Hi students, in this video tutorial we're going to take a look at the Foodborne Illness and Contaminants module in Canvas. So I want to walk you through each one of the assignments so that it is clear as to what you are expected to do. Now, in order to get started, to locate your online content or your online textbook, when you sign into Canvas, you will need to click on the Modules tab on the left side of the page. Once you select modules, you need to scroll down and locate the module that you are looking for, which is Foodborne Illness and Contaminants. And then you want to select complete pages 1 through 3. Once you do that, you will see all 10 pages of the online content or textbook for this module. And that is what you want to read. You want to read everything so that you can see your instructions for each one of the assignments and learn the material that you need to learn for this unit. So right away, you're going to see your essential questions and your key terms for the module. Please make sure you read over all of the key terms, and there are a lot of key terms for this module. Things such as virus, bacteria, fat tom, FDA, just to name a few, okay? So read through the vocabulary terms, make sure you understand them, you know what they mean, and you even know how to use them in a sentence, okay? So some essential questions that you need to be able to answer by the end of the module are: what is foodborne illness? What are some of the causes of foodborne illnesses and the differences between them? What contaminates our food? How can you identify potential hazardous foods and the causes of these hazardous foods? How can the effects of ingredients on microbes, processing time, and or temperature be determined? And the last essential question is, what role does the FDA play in preventing foodborne outbreaks? So as you read through the material, make sure you're able to answer each one of these essential questions. Now let's take a look at your first assignment, which is types of foodborne illnesses discussion. So for this discussion, it tells you to research a foodborne illness, okay? And there's a list of foodborne illnesses in the sidebar of Canvas, okay, when you're going through your content. I want you to share the name of the illness that you chose, some signs and symptoms, duration, and food sources. So duration just means, how long does the illness typically last, and then what foods might cause this particular illness, okay? So you want to research that illness and answer those questions. You should not discuss an illness that another student has discussed, so please make sure that you review the other discussions and make sure you're not choosing something that someone has already chosen. Make the subject line the name of your disease whenever you are responding to the discussion. So how do you locate the discussion? Once again, you're going to make sure that you choose the Modules tab within Canvas and then scroll down to find the name of the module, Foodborne Illnesses, and then select Types of Foodborne Illnesses Discussion. And then that is where you would respond to this discussion. Please make sure that you also respond to 2 other classmates. Make sure that your responses are thorough. That means 3 to 4 complete sentences. And don't forget to add a resource. You can check out more details on the requirements for discussions by going to the small link that you see here below. Okay? And I talk about the requirements throughout Canvas in announcements and in my live learning sessions, so make sure you understand how to get full credit for discussions. Alright, so let's take a look at the next assignment. This is the food hazard species assignment. The instructions tell you to pretend that you have been invited by Georgia's Dietetic Association to speak on foodborne illness at an annual conference. I want you to choose one microbiological or non-microbiological food hazard species from the list. Now this list is in the sidebar. Here's the list you see here on the screen, okay? I want you to research and find the answers to the 10 questions that's listed on the handout. So once you choose a hazard species, you're going to answer the 10 questions. Now it tells you to create a presentation that includes your findings. So as you answer these 10 questions, you want to put them in a presentation. I would recommend 1 question per slide. So that means you're going to have 10 content slides and of course a title slide and then a resources slide. So keep that in mind. So altogether that'll be at least 12 slides, right? So here's some options of how you can create your presentation. Of course, you can always use Microsoft PowerPoint. You can use Google Slides, but remember to turn into Google Slides, you need to save it as a PDF, not a link. You can use Keynote if you are using a Mac device. You can use Canva, Adobe Spark. These are just a few, right? So any presentation tool you can use to create this presentation. Food hazard species, right? So again, make sure you review the assignment instructions. It tells you what you need to remember to include. Also include images, at least 4. Make sure you're creative. Use a slide design. Make sure it's neat, okay? And answer all 10 questions. That's very important. So in order to turn this in, of course, you're going to choose that modules tab, locate the name of the module, and then you will scroll down until you see the name of the assignment. Click on that so that you can attach your work. Next up, we have Fat Tom Research Assignment. Let's take a look at the instructions. It tells you to create a Fat Tom flyer or poster that displays what the acronym stands for and the role that each item plays in food safety. So the first part of this, and there's 2 parts to this, is for you to create a poster. Then it tells you to make sure you include related image that represents each item. So include a related image for each item as far as Fat Tom, F-A-T-T-O-M, okay? Then I want you to create an acrostic poem. This is part 2. Create a poem that will help you remember each letter of the acronym Fat Tom. And also it's supposed to help you remember what it means. So I like this assignment because it allows students to be creative. Make sure you click on this Word document in the sidebar to get your instructions. And remember, there are 2 documents that you have to submit. You have to submit your poster and your acrostic poem. So what I did was I went ahead and put some examples here on the screen for you. Your poster can be created using Canva, Poster My Wall, Pictochart, or any other creative poster making website. You can also simply use Microsoft Word. But I will say, if you choose to use Microsoft Word, make sure that you add some creativity to it. Add your images, add some border, add some color. If you are not creative, then I recommend that you use one of the other options because you can use a template that's kind of already set up for you. So this is an example of what a poster may look like. You have your acronym here along the side, and you need to let us know what each letter stands for and give us a brief description of what each letter means, okay? And again, add some clip art on here as well. Now for part 2, your acrostic poem, the first thing you need to do is make sure you know what an acrostic poem is, okay? And basically you're just going to take the word Fat Tom, and the first letter is going to be the first letter of each line of your poem, right? So here's an example of kindness. Okay, that's the word that you're using for this example. And each letter of the word kindness begins each line of the poem. Now, when you are writing your acrostic poem, make sure the words in your poem make sense as it relates to Fat Tom. Okay, so talk about food, talk about acidity, talk about time, temperature, oxygen, and moisture in your poem. Okay, make sure it makes sense. Don't just give me any random words just to, get the poem completed. Okay, that's very important. So again, you're going to turn in the poster and the acrostic poem for this assignment to the Dropbox. All right, so you also have a quiz at the end of every single module. Again, to locate your quiz, you're going to select the Modules tab, select the name of the module, and scroll down to locate your Foodborne Illness and Contaminants quiz. Click on the quiz. You're going to have 10 multiple choice questions, 35 minutes to complete your quiz. And as always, I recommend that students review the content, review all the assignments and the discussions before you take your quiz. And this is going to help you do well on the quiz. So please make sure that you remember to do those things. Now here is your project for the module, okay? And I really like this project. I'm super excited about this. So let's talk about the Foodborne Illness Song and Skit project, or I should say song or skit, because you're going to choose between the 2. Now let's take a look at the instructions. It says, suppose you are asked by your employer to create a rap or a skit or a song that explains foodborne illness, the role of the FDA, and or procedures followed in case of a foodborne outbreak. Suppose you were asked to explain this to a group of middle school students who you are going to be visiting in the upcoming week. I want you to use everything that you've learned in the module to complete this activity. Make sure you include key terms. Remember those key terms at the beginning of the unit. Also, any information that you've learned in the content, include that into your skit or your song, whichever one you decide to do. There's a rubric in the sidebar that you can look at that's going to kind of guide you to make sure that you have everything that you need. Now, let's talk about the song option. If you choose the song option, you need to make sure that you include at least 3 verses and a hook. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, make sure you research what a verse is and what a hook is to a song. But you got to have 3 verses and a hook, and that needs to be related to the topic, foodborne illness, right? Make sure you label each section. Make sure I can clearly see verse 1, verse 2, verse 3, and hook. You must also record yourself singing or rapping, whichever one you decide. Record yourself doing that. Now, if you record yourself, you can use a recording tool called Audacity to record, or you can simply just, hit record on your Chromebook or your device and just record the audio file using some other tool of your choice, okay? Now, if you want to take it a step further and have instrumental music playing in the background, you can download some royalty-free instrumental music or instrumental music of your choice. That's going to be completely up to you. For the skit option, please make sure you review the rubric to see what you need to include for your skit. Stay on topic with your skit and make sure you have enough content for your skit. Now, let's talk about the skit real quick, because a lot of times students are not sure how to write a skit. So you have a picture here, and the first thing I need to see in your skit are your characters, okay? Because remember, a skit is simply a dialogue. It's kind of like you're writing a play, right? So who are your characters? Also, let me know the setting of your skit. Give me some background information about your skit. And then, of course, you'll have your characters speaking dialogue. Now, the dialogue needs to be related to one of the topics. You're either going to be explaining foodborne illness, or maybe talking about the role of the FDA, or maybe just talking about, what happens in case of a foodborne outbreak. But make sure your skit makes sense and is on topic. Same thing with your song. Okay, so I hope this clears up any questions you may have about this assignment. You're going to choose either a skit or a song. You can sing the song, you can rap the song. That's going to be completely up to you. You can add instrumental music to the background, but you do have to sing or rap your song. So you're going to be turning in the actual typed information and the audio file to your song. Okay, so the last thing that you want to do for this particular module is you want to open up your food journal project handout that you've been working on the entire semester, and you want to complete Module 7, Foodborne Illness and Contaminants. Please make sure you answer the 3 questions. This is your food journal project that you've been working on all semester. Now, you don't turn this in until the end of the semester, so you won't see the Dropbox for this assignment until the very end. And just make sure that you remember to go to Canvas and turn this in at the end of the semester. But for now, just open it up and make sure you add to the Module 7 questions on your Microsoft Word document. Okay, so even though I went through every single assignment in this module, that does not mean they're all going to be required. Some of you guys may have what's called reduced coursework. So please make sure you follow your PACE plan and only complete the assignments that populates on your calendar. Now, your calendar and your course checklist is what's going to help you know what to turn in for each one of your modules. So please locate your course checklist by selecting the Home tab, and then under Quick Links, I need you to select Class Resources. And then from there, you're going to see your checklist. So your course checklist, make sure you click on it and you open it up, it's going to look similar to what you see here on the screen. You're going to see a list of assignments that are required and a list of assignments that have been omitted. So that means you don't have to do them. So please make sure that you only do what's on your checklist and what's on your calendar within Canvas. Okay, this is very important. This is your course checklist, so make sure you follow the checklist. Don't forget that there are rubrics throughout the content when you're reading. Please click on the rubrics. Make sure you understand the requirements for each assignment. Also, make sure you're looking on the right hand side of the content pages and clicking on all of your handouts and your resources. Okay, so please click on these items so that you can learn more. These are resources that are going to help you. So that is it for our video tutorial for foodborne illness. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.